everyone, this is Librarian Faith at the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach. I'm coming to you live from Studio 411. Since we can't be here together to do our Thursday crafts, I thought we could be together at home. Today, I'm going to show you how to use recycled newspapers and magazines to make picture frames. Let's get started. The materials for this project are pretty straightforward. You're just going to need some pages ripped out of a magazine and some elmer's glue. You might also want some hot glue if you want a little bit cleaner lines and them getting dry more quickly, but that's not necessary. So after you rip out a piece from the magazine, you're going to want to turn it pretty side down and fold over the rough side, just a little bit up. You want to try to get it nice and even with either side. Then you'll fold up a little tiny bit. This helps keep the eventual tube you're going to roll nice and small. And you're just going to keep rolling that up with your hands on each end until you get about to the top. Then you'll take some elmer's glue and you'll just apply it right along that top part. Then you'll roll it over a couple of times. I find this helps keep it a little bit more flat. And you're done. So after you've made 12 of these and you've let them dry for a little bit, you're going to want to group them in clusters of 4. Now I'm using a hot glue gun for this portion because it sticks a little bit better. You're just going to want to apply a little bit of hot glue kind of on the edge of the tube and stick the next one right next to it. And you'll want to do that for all 4. When you're making the tubes, it's helpful to try to keep them all even. That way they're not wildly different sizes. Although if they are, that's okay because we're going to end up cutting parts of these off. Okay? Then you'll let those dry. Once they've all dried together, you're going to want to take them and cut them on an angle, like so. You're going to want to try to keep them even, so go ahead and line them up with what you've already done and snip across the top. They might be a bit difficult to cut through, but a good pair of scissors will have you in perfect shape. So you'll line that up again. Get that angle right. And snip across. And you'll repeat that for the other 4 sides. Now that we have 4 equally shaped sizes of our paper noodles, let's call them, and you have the edges trimmed just right, you're going to want to arrange them with it narrowing on the outside for all 4. About like that. And you're going to want to use your photo as a guide on how big or how small it needs to be. Once you have the size you want, you'll take your hot glue gun or whatever gluing instrument you have at your house and glue them in place. After holding them down for a second, you should have something looking like this. Okay, now that we have our frame nice and safely glued together, you want to flip it over and put your photograph in place. In this instance, it fits nicely between the 2. Then you're going to take an extra one, cut it to size, a bit of glue on either ends to help hold your photograph in its new frame. This last part is optional, so if you need something to help hang your new photograph frame with, you can take a piece of yarn or ribbon or whatever you have around the house, cut a couple inches of it. I'm going to use about this much and put another dab of hot glue. Once all the hot glue has cooled, you are good to go. You now have an adorable new picture frame for some of your favorite photos. And it was all made from recycled materials. I hope you had fun following along with this craft. If you end up doing it yourself, please send us a photo. We'd love to see your creations. And until we can see you at the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach in Studio 411, see you next time!